It's pretty wild how sometimes a single word can just change everything. It can create a whole new language, a new way of doing things that becomes so normal we forget it ever had to be invented in the first place. Well, today, we're diving into a collection of music that did exactly that. It literally wrote the rulebook for the modern violin. And our story starts on a very, very specific date, New Year's Day, 1700. The composer Arcangelo Corelli chose this exact moment to publish his Opus 5 violin sonatas. And believe me, that was no accident. He was deliberately signaling a break from the past and kicking off something totally new for the instrument. Right. He knew exactly what he was doing. By dating his dedication to January 1st, 1700, Corelli was basically planting a flag. He was telling the world, hey, this is a new century and I'm offering a new vision for what music and what the violin can actually be. Okay, so let's get into it. The man behind the music was Arcangelo Corelli, who was a total giant of the Baroque era. And the work itself was his Opus 5, a set of 12 sonatas, multi-movement pieces for the violin. On the surface, yeah, it's just a book of music. But really, it was a revolution printed on paper. So what made this collection such a game changer? Well, before Opus 5, violin music was mostly an ensemble thing, like for trio sonatas where it's part of a group. Corelli completely flipped that. He put a huge spotlight on a single solo violin with just some simple accompaniment. By doing that, he basically established the solo violin sonata as a major, serious genre. He put the violinist right out front and center. But this was way more than just a new format. Really, you should think of Opus 5 as the foundational blueprint, kind of like an operating manual for the violin that would end up guiding players for the next 300 years. It set the entire agenda for what a great violinist should be able to do. And Corelli was clever about it too. He structured this blueprint by splitting the collection right down the middle. The first 6 were church sonatas, serious, abstract pieces for sacred spaces. The next 6 were chamber sonatas, which were packed with lively dance rhythms meant for more secular, fun settings. So with this one collection, he gave violinists a complete model for any situation they might find themselves in. But the real revolution, the true genius of Opus 5, wasn't just about what was played. It was all about how it was played. These sonatas didn't just have notes on a page. They laid out an entire virtuosic language for the instrument. So what does that mean? Well, Corelli basically organized and standardized a whole new set of skills. He codified techniques like double stops, that's playing 2 notes at once, and this amazing effect called bariolage, a kind of shimmering sound you get from crossing strings really fast. He was, for all intents and purposes, writing the vocabulary that would define what high-level violin playing even was. Now, here's the thing. The notes themselves didn't go ridiculously high up the violin, but to actually play this music, that required a completely new level of physical mastery. It demanded incredible control of the bow, crazy agility in your left hand, and this expressive power that made the violin sing in a way no one had really heard before. It was a workout for your body and for your soul. Of course, an instruction manual is only useful if people actually read it. And oh boy, did they read this one. This new code for violin playing didn't just hang around in Rome. Nope, it spread across Europe like wildfire and quickly became the new international standard. And it happened fast. Within just 10 years of it being published in Rome, you could find copies everywhere from London to Berlin. Corelli's students became his biggest advocates, spreading his techniques all over the continent. And pretty soon, the biggest names in music, we're talking Bach, Handel, Vivaldi, were all soaking up his ideas and building on them. Corelli's language became the language of the violin. And this wasn't some passing fad. The shock waves from Opus 5 echoed for centuries. It didn't just shape how the violin was played, but how it was taught, all the way up to today. The impact was just that deep. For hundreds of years, serious violinists could trace their teaching family tree right back to Corelli. His sonatas became the essential homework for any aspiring player. So the way a violinist learns their craft today, the core techniques they have to master, you can draw a direct line from that all the way back to this one collection, published on New Year's Day, 1700. He laid the foundation for pretty much every modern school of violin playing. So all this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. Corelli's blueprint absolutely unlocked the violin's potential. It gave it a voice, a vocabulary that allowed for incredible art. But when one work becomes the standard, does it also maybe create some boundaries? When one person writes all the rules, are they ultimately setting an instrument free, or are they limiting what it can become?